What's up, everybody? The Bad Batch is back for its final season, and we kicked it off with a 3 episode premiere. There will, of course, be spoilers for all 3 episodes in my review here, but you can also watch parts of the video if you haven't seen all the episodes. Just make sure you pay attention to the timestamps I've added on the video and don't go past whatever episode you've seen. So, with that being said, let's get into it. Starting off with episode 1, I'm going to go over the story, then give my thoughts at the end, and I'll interject some thoughts in between here and there. The episode opens as some stormtroopers crash land heading into Mount Tantus, and we kind of get an idea of just how dangerous the forests surrounding Palpatine's prize facility are. Then we jump into the mountain as Omega is a prisoner, even though she's told she's not, assisting both Dr. Carr, who's the other female clone, the older one that we saw in season 2, and then of course Nala Se. But at the same time, she's still trying to crack Crosshair. She pesters him about their need to escape the fortress. The beaten down Crosshair, though, all but shrugs her off, and uh, even tells her she should leave him behind because he would do the same if he was in her shoes, and he also feels like he is where he deserves to be. However, after a time jump, which when we start this season, it's 21 rotations, Star Wars days, after the season 2 finale, and we jump 129 rotations to 150 rotations post season 2 and 150 rotations of Omega being on Mount Tantus. With that jump, she started to get through to her brother who's gotten past serving the Empire, but now he's a shell of the clone he used to be. In keeping up with her daily tasks, Omega has become attached to one of the hounds who she calls a Fetcher, and I kind of think this is a play on Wrecker because these hounds are huge, just like him. When she learns she's set to be put down, she lets her go into the wild, and as a result, Hemlock threatens Crosshair because he knows if he harms Omega, he loses Nala Se. I thought this was a slower episode, but I did like it and what it sets up for the season, even just over the next 2 episodes. And also, as a dog lover and owner myself, that little storyline caught my heart, and I'm really becoming a fan of Omega as a character more and more as she grows. I'd say this was a good, not great start to the 3rd season, but that's okay because we got 2 more episodes to talk about. I'm just going to keep it rolling and get right into episode 2 because these release times are not ideal for us Americans. This episode opens on what I'm assuming is the planet Deveron, where we see a familiar face from the show, Roland Durand, who's the one that took over Sid's parlor back in season 1, episode 13. He's the son of Issa Durand, head of the Durand crime syndicate, as we see Hunter and Wrecker bring them the pike that shamed their name by taking Durand's horn and for information on Omega's location. However, that information takes them to an abandoned facility, and I'm not quite sure what planet it's on, but they encounter 3 clone cadets who escaped before the Empire destroyed it, just like they did to Kamino. They convince one of them to take them into that facility to the only intact data terminal to try and pinpoint Omega's location, but this place is not somewhere Wrecker should be. The planet is actually covered in these live vines that the Empire was experimenting on, and you can't touch them or else they attack. And you can sum up why that's not ideal for Wrecker, the how do I put this nicely, the clumsy one to be walking through. But they make it into the base, into the data terminal, where they can only get so much information before they're attacked by what I can only describe to you as a vine monster that kind of resembles a Sarlacc monster. Once they're outside, though, it does come up out of the water, and like I said, resembles a Sarlacc beast with the teeth and the mouth, but a water version instead of a sand one like on Tatooine. And then with the help of the other 2 cadets, who were originally going to take their ship in bounds, they get out of there by blowing up the beast, which Wrecker loves, and they take the cadets to Pabu, which we don't actually see, but they say they're taking them to a safe island, which obviously is Pabu. This one was cool, still a little slow, but we got some more action with it being Hunter and Wrecker centric. So, like episode 1, I enjoyed it and probably enjoyed it a little more than the first, if I'm being honest. It really reminded me of the Clone Wars arc where Ahsoka and the Padawans are stranded being hunted by the Trandoshans, which is an underrated arc in my opinion in that show. So this was kind of a cool take on that idea. Now, before we get into episode 3, I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you for sticking with me so far, and I hope you enjoyed the premiere of the final season here. But if you're enjoying this breakdown so far and want to keep with me through the rest of the season, I'd appreciate it greatly if you subscribe to the channel to show your support and help me out in the easiest and freest way possible. Now let's get back to the show. Episode 3 takes us back to Mount Tantus with Crosshair and Omega, where we get our first in-season look at that suspicious trooper who many have speculated is a brainwashed tech. But the big thing in this episode is that the Grey Prune himself, Emperor Palpatine, is coming to Wayland, and so Nala Se isn't going to be able to discard Omega's blood samples like she has been for the last 100-some rotations, so she's at risk and it's time to escape. Before that, though, we see Dr. Hemlock take Palpatine into his secret lab that's guarded by commandos and ray shields, where he's working on Project Necromancer, which we've heard mentioned a few times now, and is basically the cloning of the Emperor and the creation of Snoke. So yeah, sequel haters are probably gonna rip this apart. But as someone who loved the concept of Snoke and not what they did with him, like the execution, I'm still rather intrigued by this element of the show. And they discuss Hemlock's work in transferring M counts into hosts, and he's had one semi-success so far. But Palps assures him he'll have whatever he needs to get the job done. As the Emperor is departing, Omega and Crosshair escape into the forest, but Hemlock immediately sends half the base to search for them, including some of the hounds Omega's been taking care of. Just when a bigger beast is about to get them out in the forest, the hounds arrive, and we get kind of the T-Rex versus Raptor fight, but with Star Wars beasts, and that was a cool little nod to the Jurassic franchise. At this point, Crosshair has come fully around and gotten over his self-pity as he tells Omega it's time for Plan 72, which leads to her hijacking the Imperial ship while he keeps the imps busy. She does get a little help from Fetcher, though, the hound she released in episode 1 and had been especially taken care of, as she takes out the stormtrooper that got the jump on Omega. They're able to escape with a Fetcher on board and safe, and Hemlock lets them make the jump to hyperspace after Dr. Carr reveals Omega's blood sample received a positive M count transfer, which I should have mentioned before is referring to midichlorians, obviously, making her all the more valuable to him and the Empire. This episode ruled. I loved it all. The stuff with Palpatine, especially the absolutely phenomenal score from Kevin Kiner, was just amazing. Yes, even the sequel ties. I know, I'm not a fan of those movies, but I do really like The Force Awakens, and I'm curious to see the process of getting there at least, even though I know I don't like the end result with The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, and then their escape from the fortress was also cool, like I said, with the Jurassic nod, and I just can't wait to see their journey to try and reunite with the crew and what it means if they can't get in contact with them before Hunter and Wrecker head to Wayland. I'm really looking forward to the rest of this season. And so that'll do it for my breakdown of the first 3 episodes of The Bad Batch Season 3. A good start to this season with tons of promise for what's to come, and I just can't wait. But let me know what you thought of the first 3 episodes down in the comments below, and make sure you have a great day.